Chapter 15. Luke never did let go of the pretty lady's hand. Katrin, her name is. He pulled her down the hall, out the door, and introduced her to me. She knelt to pet me, one-handed. Luke still had hold of the other one. Well, Luke knows a good thing when he sees one. He just had to learn to look up. Olaf smiled at the three of us from the window, his haystack hair shining in the sun. It wasn't long before we were all in the pickup, Luke in the front with his new folks, me in the back where the wind ruffled my fur and I could watch the long road disappearing behind us. It took a while to get to our new place, but it was worth a sore hind end. Not since Bob and Ellen's ranch had I seen so much land in one place. We drove up to the little house in a barn, and the first thing I smelled was sheep. Sheep! I hopped out and began rounding up the herd, all 6 of them. Yeah, I know, only 6, but in time. They were the best trained, most well-behaved sheep in the whole world. Don't ask me how I know, I just know. Olaf and Katrine, our folks, are just getting things going. A couple 100 acres is all. That's not much for a sheep ranch, but it's a start. Come spring, we'll have our first lambs. More work for me once the silly things are up and running, but that's my job. After a long, hard work day, I sleep with Luke down by his feet. He needs me, especially in the winter. It gets pretty cold here. Hanging from his bedpost is my old harness. I think Luke put it there to remind us how good we have it now. Luke likes his new school, and he does his best to make Katrin and Olaf proud. Almost every day he brings something home for Katrin to stick on the refrigerator. He can read now, and boy, can he draw. Trees and sheep and trains and just about everything. He even drew a picture of me. He had to tell me it was me, but Katrin said it is a very handsome likeness and put a frame around it. It's hanging right there over our bed. I don't dream about the sheep anymore, which is just as well. Sheep in daytime, sheep at night. A fellow wouldn't get any rest. But one night I dreamed about the goat man. It was one of those dreams you know is real when you're having it. No different from real life is what I'm saying, with smells and color and sound. Like TV, only better. In the dream, it was night. The sky was a big black bowl set down over our heads, and the silver stars hung down from it as if they were on strings. We were camped alongside a river. The goats hunkered down, and the goat man was roasting some dinner over a hot fire. My mouth was watering, watching that goat's meat sizzle and smoke. It wasn't long before he would leave us. The goat man didn't know he was going, of course, but maybe just a little he did, because he was talking about the philosophy again, the way old folks sometimes do. Why we're on this earth, why we do what we do, all that sort of thing. Life's not so hard to figure out, Shep. He poked the fire. Flames shot up, the meat sizzled and spit. Sad to say, most people don't know that. They've got to get themselves a whole pile of money, big cars, fancy houses, run themselves ragged. He shook his head like he was mad and sad at the same time. Truth is, a fellow doesn't need a whole lot to make him happy. A place to bed down, warm food in his belly, honest work, good company. But he's got to have one thing more, doesn't he, boy? I didn't know what that could be. All I needed right then was a nice fat chunk of that meat. A fella's got to know he made a difference, that he's used his noodle to make things a little better. Then he gave me that special wink like he did when he was feeling extra smart. When I awoke from that dream, I didn't know where I was at first. I had been so many places by then that I'd wait sometimes to open my eyes. Who knew but that I'd find myself back in that terrible circus again? But there was Luke, fast asleep, his feet against my side. I cocked my ears to listen, but the goat man had faded away to where the memories go and wait for you to have them again. Outside our window, the moon was just a sliver, a wink in the dark sky.